Hello, Debbie Emmett here, editor, proofreader, author. I'm going to take you on a little foray into my garden in a minute to see if we can find some quickies in action. But before we go out there, I want to just quickly talk to you about this, my new book, Tricky Quickies 1. It's full of confusing word pairs, different words that we confuse all the time, and I count myself in that because even though I'm an editor and I'm supposed to be some sort of language expert, I still end up looking up these words all the time because they are confusing. So words like appraise or apprise, dependent or dependant, principal LE or principal AL, and loads more. So let's pop out into the garden and see what we can find. So I've come into my garden to find some examples from my book, and one that I think I'm going to be able to find fairly easily is some humus as opposed to hummus. Now, is humus spelt H-U-M-U-S, or is it H-O-U-M-O-U-S or H-O-U-M-U-S, etc.? Well, I'll tell you in a minute. Let's go and have a look for some humus. Right, so this is more or less humus. So we're looking at decaying leaf matter. And if we go to the index of Tricky Quickies, we can see that we have 3 different entries for possible spellings of humus. So let's go to page 55. Right, here we are. Page 55 and Tricky Quickie number 53. We have humus, decomposed plant or animal matter forming the organic part of soil. So we know now that it is some humus that we found. If you fancy a little dippy dip with some squishy stuff, then this is your spelling. So I'm wondering now if I can find a little wiggly, or is it wriggly, worm, seeing as how I'm in the garden. I've got wiggle and wriggle in my Tricky Quickies book. So let's see if we can find a little wormy. So I am thinking that we can look in the humus, spelt H-U-M-U-S, for a little wiggly worm. Maybe some here. Do you know what? I'm going to get a trowel. Let's get a trowel. Right, so this is our trusty trowel. Let's go and find our wiggly or wriggly worm. Right, let's have a look. See what we can find. Sure. Oh, look, there's one. Straight away. Let's be gentle with the little chap. Now, this worm, is it wiggling or is it wriggling? So in the index of Tricky Quickies, you can see that there's wiggle and wriggle on page 83. Let's head there. Right, I've just moved to the shade so that our little friend here doesn't dry up in the sunshine. And the eagle-eyed amongst you will notice this is not actually the same worm as just now, because as I was looking up the index, the original one wriggled away. And yes, guys, wriggle is the right word, not wiggle. So wriggle is to move with writhing movements like a worm, or to advance with twisting movements. Also used metaphorically, e.g. to wriggle out of a situation, whereas wiggle is a lot more purposeful. So to purposefully move your body or a part of the body with quick, jerky motions. You can use them interchangeably, but you'll normally find that one is a lot more apt, and the apt one is wriggle. In fact, this poor little guy is not wriggling very much, so we're going to get him straight back into the soil. There we go. There, I'll gently cover you up in a minute, little guy. Okay, and some examples here, quickies in action. I've got mud all over the book, look. Or is it Humus? Can you wiggle your ears purposefully, you see? I added a week to my estimate to give us a bit of wiggle room, as opposed to I wriggled through the narrow tunnel to freedom. I mean, that is still purposeful in a way, but it's moving with those writhing movements like a worm. And the worm was wriggling in her hand. Yes, it was. So while you're out and about in outdoor spaces or even in indoor spaces, have a look around for some examples of these confusing word pairs and send them to me, and maybe you'll see them in the next one, Tricky Quickies 2. Well, that's great, you're probably thinking, but where on earth can I get this book? Well, if you want the paperback or the Kindle version, then go to Amazon and just search Tricky Quickies and it'll come up. Or via my website, you can get the PDF version or the EPUB version, or you can buy both. There's a bundle offer where you can get both for a lower price. So that's it really. The only thing to add is the ebook version, so EPUB and Kindle version looks slightly different inside because it allows you to for the content to reflow according to your device, so you can change the font size and so on. So the layout doesn't look quite the same on each page, but that's only really for your benefit. So yeah, go out and get yourself a copy and look out for Tricky Quickies 2, which will be coming later in the year.